Hey guys, Tom from Digismoothie, and in this video I will show you how to use Shopify Rollouts to A/B test your theme changes. Shopify Rollouts is a native tool made by Shopify, which is part of your store admin, no matter what plan you are on. So even if you are on Shopify Basic, you can use Shopify Rollouts. And it's essentially a platform that allows you to A/B test any theme changes before you publish them. To get started with Rollouts, go to your store admin, markets, and Rollouts. And here, click on the button Create a Rollout. First, you need to name the test. I recommend using something that gives you kind of idea what you are testing, and also use some identifier like the test number. So let's say I want to A/B test my homepage hero banner. Then you need to decide what part of the traffic will enter this test. So if you are running a fairly regular store, I recommend using the 100%. If you are running a huge store, then you don't need to use 100% of the traffic for the test. You can use a lower amount. And then you need to select when the test will be launched. For some reason, it doesn't allow you to launch immediately, so you always need to plan ahead. Then you need to select what you are testing, so you click on Add Changes. And the thing here is you cannot select a theme which maybe you prepared in the past in your theme library. You need to create all changes right here on the fly during the test, which is kind of a bit chaotic. And it doesn't work like with Shopify Syngym, where you could create the theme first and then select it for the test. So I will now go ahead and create the testing variant. So let's say I would like to test the new hero banner. I will click on save. I will go back, and now my variant is created. And then this is a bit tricky. There is another percentage here you need to select, and you are basically saying what part of the test traffic will get to this variant. So if it's 100%, you are just testing one variant, but you always want to test at least two. So I will select 50%. And then automatically the second variant is the control, aka champion, which is your current online theme. You need to also select the test date. So I recommend testing at least for a week and remembering that each variant should have at least 100 transactions. One of the limitations is that you cannot test more variants. So even if I select 33% here, it doesn't allow me to add more treatments. So it's always an A/B test. I hope in the future it will be possible to test more variants. But that's basically it. And here you just decide what will happen when the test ends. So currently will roll back to 0 means that everything will roll back to your online store variant. Will be applied permanently. This I'm not sure whether it applies permanently the treatment or control. It's kind of unclear to me and I didn't find more information. So I will stick with roll back to 0. I will save. And if you go back to the rollouts overview, you see that the test is scheduled and it will automatically launch on April 2nd, 10:30 p.m. Now I don't want to wait for the test to conclude, so I will show you some past tests. So for example, this one, you see that once the test is finished, you get all the KPIs per variant and also confidence intervals, but you need a lot of data for them to display. So this test was running not even 24 hours, so it doesn't have enough data. But if it would be running longer, you would see here confidence intervals. The confidence intervals are really important because they tell you what's the probability that the treatment would beat the control, and essentially whether you can trust the test results and make a decision based on that. Another limitation is that you cannot select markets which are part of the test, which is kind of okay. But what's not okay is that the rollouts are not compatible with Translate and Adapt app. So let's say you would be testing some new content in one market, but there's no way how you can actually prepare it in other markets. And also you cannot limit the test for the one particular market. So it's not a good tool to test content changes. It's a good tool to test, let's say, design changes mostly, or hiding or displaying some elements that already exists in the market. Another limitation is that you cannot test checkout. So it won't allow you to test, let's say, the 1-page versus 3-page checkout. When you are creating the treatment, you can only edit the standard theme blocks and theme pages like products, collections, homepage, and so on. It lets you go to the checkout. I've tried it, but even if you edit it here, it's actually not part of the test. So be careful because whatever you edit here in the checkout, it's not just for the treatment. It's immediately applied to your online store. Another limitation is that the rollouts doesn't work with the legacy themes, which I don't think is an issue anymore because I don't think many merchants are not using the themes 2.0. So overall, I think this is a great start for Shopify because it gives essentially every merchant a possibility to A/B test. If you are a more advanced merchant, I think tools like Intelligems is definitely a better option because it will allow you to test many more things and gives you more options. For example, price testing. This isn't possible with Rollouts. But if you want to test some design changes on your store, this seems like a perfectly fine solution. It's also clear that the tool has just been released, and I hope Shopify will continue iterating on that because A/B testing is really important and can bring a lot of upside to everyone. And I guess the future is that rollouts will be more integrated with Sidekick. So one day you can ask Sidekick to perform CRO audit of your store and then test some of the recommendations using rollouts just by a few clicks. So that's the ideal future. We'll see whether we'll get there. But anyway, this is a solid solution and a great start for Shopify. Okay, feel free to test rollouts on your own store and let me know how it goes. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. Thanks much for watching. And if you'd like to stay on top of Shopify, subscribe to our channel.